Baseplan Presents video features how to manage and track your service quotes better, focusing on the following areas: creating a service quote for customer-owned equipment, converting a service quote to a service call, converting a service call to a service job, equipment service history, and generating a service invoice.
Okay, so I'm currently logged into Baseplan Enterprise, and we're going to be looking at how we can actually manage our service quoting and actually convert that over eventually to a service job where we can actually complete the work and then generate an invoice. Now, there's two ways that we can actually manage this service quoting in Baseplan. The first way is actually by just a simple method by putting estimates on a service job. But the problem with that is, or the challenge with that is that you lose the history and the conversion rate of your service quotes. So we actually do have a more advanced way of doing this, which is under the equipment management module in a screen called the service quotes. Now, with service quotes, one of the key aspects is that it's all about quoting external work. So what we would call customer-owned equipment. So remember, if we ever look at the plant ledger, we can actually see that we've got equipment that's owned by us. We've got equipment that's owned by our customers. So maybe we've sold the equipment to them, or maybe they got their own equipment and they want us to quote on maybe some major repairs or damages that have been occurred. And then we've also got our subcontractor equipment, which is where we do our re-rents and our cross hires. So we're looking purely at equipment that is owned by our customers. So if we head back into our service quote screen, we can add new. And what's going to happen is it's going to want me to put in the name of the customer that we're actually doing the quote for. So I can choose Valaris Construction, and I can pick the particular site that I might want to quote for. We don't have to enter a site, but we can choose the site that we're actually doing this service work for as well. So I can say it's for North Connects, and then we can choose the contact that we're actually associating with this particular service work as well. So I can say it's going to be Chris Reno. Now, once this is done, what's going to happen is on this equipment code section, it's only going to show me equipment that is owned by Valaris Construction. So if I chose another customer, it would be only their customer-owned equipment. Now, when I do choose this JLG boom lift, it's going to update the make, model, and the serial number automatically. And then what I can do is I can choose the category of what the service work is that we're doing. Now, it might be, say, a 90-day service, or it might be an A service, it might be some repair work or an inspection, but we can choose that, and then that will drive that information into the service module a bit later on. Now, we can also update things like the priority, or if it's under warranty, or if it's transport required, various flags that we might want to tick. Now, the final step here is that we want to update the details of what we're actually doing. So we can call this maybe a 90-day service, 60-foot boom. And if I hit save, it's going to save the header information for that particular quote, and then we can add the details in the bottom section. So if I go edit, you can see here I can add the different types of details I want to add in. Maybe it's labor, maybe there's some parts, maybe there's some freight lines in there. In this instance, we're doing a 90-day service, so I've actually got a service kit set up, which has all my labor and my parts already in there, so we know that this is the standard cost for a 90-day service. So if I hit service kit, you can see this switches over to a kit section, and I can click on the drop down and I can choose my 90-day kit. Now, once I hit save, that's going to know the standard cost for the parts and labor automatically, and then assign that detail line in the bottom section here. Now, once I hit save, I then have the ability to then preview this quote, and I can choose whether it's going to be all the details. We want to summarize the parts and labor if need be. We can then change the layout of the template as needed, but we can see here it's pulled through the information and it's given me some totals as well. And we can then email that to the customer out of the system if we wanted to. Now, another key benefit around using this module within service quotes is that we actually have some additional functionality under actions. So we can actually seek authorization for this particular quote as well, which isn't available just in the standard service module when you're doing it through a service job. We can also revise the quote, which means that we've got quote number 1 and we might want to revise it. And you can see here we've got a revision number. So it'll become 12.2 and then 12.3 as time goes on potentially. We can also copy a quote. So maybe we've done the same work before for the same customer, and we can just copy that exact same quote and then convert that over for the team to complete. And then we've got a couple of different workflow statuses down here, which is convert to service call, quote 1, quote lost, and cancel quote. Now, basically what typically happens is you would win the quote first. You would send the quote first. So once you send the quote, the status will be updated as quoted. So then we can report on all of our quoted service quotes out there. And then I can actually convert this over to 1 as well. Now, once it's converted to 1, I can then convert this over to a service call, which can either be posted for someone to complete the work, or it can actually go into our allocation screen where you might have a service allocator that is dropping and dragging mechanics that need to go out and actually complete the work. So if I click here, convert to service call, it would copy everything on that service call, a service quote information, and you can see the status changes to converted, and it's created a service call here that has been linked. So if I double clicked on this, we'll see here that there's going to be an unallocated service call, and it's copied all that information automatically. And all I need to do in that instance is, if I wanted to, I can actually allocate this out to a technician as needed. Or if I wanted to actually go for more of a planning route, I can actually go to our under equipment management, go to technician allocation screen, and we'll be able to see the unallocated jobs, and we've got this 90-day boom that needs to be done. And I could drag my technicians over and it will move down to our work in progress. But let's just go back to this main screen here, and I'll go back to my service call. And once I allocate it out, so let's just say I want to allocate it to ALF, that updates the status to allocated. And then I have the ability to then post this, which will then copy all that information onto the service job automatically. That's been posted, and then I can then view that service job. So we can see here, it's copied all the information automatically from the customer, who the technician is. We can pull through some standard charges that want to come through, like travel, for example, that I've got here. And then we can also pull through things like the information from the initial quote, and then we can actually copy this over to the actuals, or we can then bill them the agreed, maybe fixed price on the estimate as well. You can see here it's flagged the job type as external. So when I do post this service job, it will record the costs against the pieces of equipment, and it will also generate an invoice at the end of the particular service work. Now, once we complete this, this will then obviously create a record in the service history listing where we can actually see all the services that have been completed for that particular customer's piece of equipment as well. Well, I hope this is sort of giving you some insights into how you could potentially utilize the service quoting function. I think it is something that's quite handy. If you have any questions or ideas on future topics, please leave a comment in the section below.